I hope that everyone had a great breakout session. I think that most of us probably would have liked to stay there and keep talking for a while. I think there's just so much to share with each other. And I know our group, the 9 to 17-year-old parents, parents of 9 to 17-year-olds, there was a lot of really great insights shared, and that's going to be a highlight for me from this conference. So hope everyone else had a great discussion. Thank you to our panelists who are coming up here. Please be very careful as you climb on these stools. We had them sign a stool waiver ahead of time. So we recognize that there are many adults with cystinosis at our conference with lots of wisdom to share, and maybe we could have found enough stools to have everyone come up here, but we've invited these people to share some wisdom with us today. But if there are adults in the audience that have some things they'd like to share, please don't hesitate to raise your hand and join the conversation. We want to hear from everyone. And we're really grateful to you all for being willing to be part of this panel. This is always a big highlight. So I think we can get started. Since there are 11 of you, we probably won't do introductions systematically. Just if you take the microphone, reintroduce yourself, and we'll just pass. We have a couple microphones. It looks like we can pass. And then if you have a question for anyone in the audience, please just raise your hand. We can run a microphone up to you. So let's get started. Does anyone have a question, a burning question they'd like to start off with? And I'm already failing at my moderating job. Feeling the failure. Okay, great.
Okay, I'll start with the question. For those of you who have jobs, what are you doing? And how does it feel? And do you feel like you've got stamina for your job, and how many hours per week? And mine are Jenna and Patrick here, and they're really excited that I'm up here leading, I'm sure. I'm going to start out with you, Brandon.
They got mics, Teresa. So you can run your mic on that side.
Okay.
And I'll do this.
Yeah, what your job is, what you do, yeah.
I'm a proctologist.
It serves me right.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, tell them about it.
It is a great career. You can make a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm rich. So my shifts depend on the day and what goes on, but we're supposed to work 10-hour shifts. Sometimes it's 12 to 15-hour shifts. We work usually 4 days a week unless we pick up an extra shift. I feel pretty good, I guess. I already told you. I have a microphone. I won't say why I'm a proctologist, but I'm a police officer.
Because you deal with a-holes all day?
That's right, buddy.
Are you talking about your colleagues or the citizens?
It depends. Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, I guess I'm just used to it. I mean, push through it, I guess.
I really never had a problem either, but the one time I did was just before I was diagnosed for sleep apnea. So if you're 30-something and no energy, get tested for sleep apnea. But other than that, it was never a problem.
So my job's kind of changed lately because we have 2 kids now, and one is 15 months old. So now I'm more stay-at-home dad. I still work, but not maybe 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I'm at home a lot more. And that's a good question asking about energy. And my energy has changed. I kind of feared it when we first got a young kid. But it's weird. Both the boys keep me going, and I do have the energy to keep up with them. So I mean, I do it. I make it through the day. I think the Mississippi does affect me with, tiredness and that kind of thing. But my situation, it's like the boys going all the time. It's given me more energy, and I've gotten used to it. So I'll survive.
Yes, we survived. That's true. So I work part-time at a preschool. I'm the director and the 4-year-old teacher. And then, like Brian said, having 2 little ones that are 3.5 and 15 months, we kind of just force us to have the energy. But they go to bed by 7 and I'm in bed by 7:30. So
I recently started a new job in January because I moved. So I work at a nonprofit that partners with DCFS. So I am a social worker, and the population is kids in foster care. And let's see, I work full time. There's a lot of driving, which I didn't really realize, but yeah, a lot of driving. But it's good. I really like it. And I feel like now, after the stem cell transplant, I have more energy. So it's good. So far, so good.
Um, so before the stem cell transplant, I was probably late, like almost every day. I don't know, honestly, don't know how they didn't fire me. But I would basically just I'd set it. So I take my pills on coffee break and stuff like that. And then I got the stem cell transplant and the kidney transplant. And now I get up in the morning and I feel, I guess, energized. I feel like I can actually go to work and get something done. And so I work for my uncle now. And then I also work for another company on my days off.
Well, like I said yesterday, I'm not working still just because I'm still healing from the stem cell transplant. But normally, so I'm a certified clinical MA and administrative MA. So administrative meaning I do a lot of insurance. So spend a lot of time emails and meetings on the phone. But then for clinical, I'm in the back office seeing upwards of like 60 patients a day, sometimes more. And unfortunately, in my clinic, we've had a lot of people leave due to COVID burnouts. So I end up working a lot more than I'm supposed to. The typical, it's 5 o'clock. Can you stay for like 1 more hour? Yeah, so I usually do. So my work week, I'm supposed to work 10 hours, but I usually end up working 12 hours because of overtime. But they're not stingy with overtime, which is nice. But before the like I said, I've had my kidney transplant already, and I usually feel pretty good. My normal hours are normally from like 8 a.m. to probably about 7, but usually that turns into 8 a.m. to 9, depending on how busy we are. But it just depends.
I'm in college, but I do work 20 hours a week usually, and I'm going to college full time. So like, if I have classes from and I have like a 2-hour lab or something, if I have classes from like 9 to 11, I go home. I honestly I always try to take at least an hour nap a day. So I try to get a nap in. I try to just stuff my face with food, get my meds down, and then I go to work. And I usually pack like a sandwich to work or something, because if I don't eat on my break, I get a terrible headache, and I'm at work and I have a headache, and I've never been one to be like, oh, I'm going home. I just don't even tell my employer I have a headache. I just get through it. I get home and sometimes go to the ER, sometimes just go to bed with a headache. So it's like, I'm honestly so tired all the time, but that's just because my kidney function is 23. So, I mean, I'm staying at home. I'm going to a local community college, but still I'm working like 20 hours a week. So I'm always just like survival mode. I'm always so exhausted, but I just try to eat a lot. And so that at work, I can feel pretty decent. Good.
After school, I've recently started to drive for Uber, delivering just like food to people's houses after school. It's not great, but it's all like the money I need. I usually work after school, could be anywhere from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, from 4 o'clock to like 10 p.m. Just depends on how I'm feeling.
I don't have a job quite yet, but I had an interview a couple weeks ago. So after my spring break, I'm going to start working at a sushi restaurant that's in Sacramento. So yeah, I think they're like long hours. It's like, I want to say Monday and Wednesday from 3 to 10. But I mean, it's a good schedule. I only have 2 days of work, so I'm excited. And it's a cute restaurant. So yeah.
I'm not currently working right now, but my plan is to go into home computer repair. So I go to people's home and fix up their computer or something, because it will allow me to have more flexible hours. I can make my own society and do it as an independent. So I think it would be a good job for me, more flexible than a regular one.
Yeah, way back here. Let's see. So as an adult with cystinosis myself, I've been fortunate to not have as many physical issues, but I certainly have other issues in terms of I think financial and mental health over the years. And so I think those two things are maybe overlooked a bit in terms of the stress that cystinosis plays in our lives, just in terms of trying to maneuver the health insurance world and the cost of everything, lab works, meds, and then just how that also can affect other things in your life, mental health. So I guess any suggestions you might have for folks in the audience who are starting that process of going through that world? For me, I found that the Good Days Foundation has been really nice. They've been able to help with my copays for my Cystigon. That's just one suggestion I would have, but any other suggestions you guys might have for anyone in the audience related to either, the financial kind of burden of this, or just what do you like to do for fun to relieve stress?
Yeah, for me, I guess that's definitely has been a huge worry of mine. Even I know, like when I was younger, I've always thought about my future and stuff, and I've always, I guess, tried to find companies with benefits. And I currently don't have a company with benefits right now, but I have, I guess, Alberta Blue Cross, so they help with my little bit of copay and stuff like that. And I guess, yeah, definitely that's my main worry now is definitely money and paying for my meds, I guess.
So I'm very lucky. My parents, I grew up with having really good insurance. My parents both worked for a school district for the government, and any government job usually always have good insurance. So I had dual coverage. So I was very lucky. I still pay a copay, of course, but now that my mom is retired, it's a little bit different. But because of my history of dialysis and kidney disease in California, I know every state's different with their state insurance and like that. But I've been very lucky that I was able to be grandfathered into my dad's insurance. So even though I'm 30, I'm still covered under him, which saves me a lot of stress. I know everybody can't do that, but I was really lucky with my coordinators I had with Kaiser and everything. They're really good about writing my letters to if I need to for continuation of my coverage with my dad. So I'm really lucky. I don't have to worry about that right now, and I just have to. That's why I'm able to take the time off without having to work to get a paycheck right now. I still, of course, since I'm still because when you have a kidney transplant, you can in the state of California, you can still get disability for up to 5 years afterward. Depending upon how many hours you're working per week. So right now I'm still getting disability just because I'm not working at all. So I know it's not like that for everybody in every state, but I'm pretty lucky. So
I think for me, like I'm blessed. I mean, I'm almost 20, but I'm still on my parents' insurance, obviously, and they have good insurance. Maybe it's more the mental aspect. I think it definitely plays a role, especially I've had a kidney transplant. I'm probably not going to need another one here soon, maybe in next year. Definitely plays a role in like your mental. When I was in high school, I wasn't even in high school. I'm surprised I graduated, honestly. My attendance was like nothing. Like I'd show up to class and everything, but I was always in the hospital or I had a lot of things going on in high school. But now that I'm in college, and I'm working a lot and stuff, it's like I think definitely I try to just do normal stuff people do my age, but at the same time, like just the whole transplant thing, it's just super hard. At least for me, it plays a huge role in my mental health. I'm actually going into psychology because I want to do that for a living, do like pediatric clinical psychology. So like psychologist for children's hospitals, because I definitely think it's a huge aspect of your health. I never realized it until I got older and I got starting getting more problems that my mental health is really huge. And like when you get older and you're like, oh, well, why ever get married? Does somebody want somebody with a disease? Like, definitely is interesting.
As far as meds go, me and Jenna are lucky that we have to don't really have to worry about it as much as we should thinking about the future. But yeah, we insurance covers it, and I don't really know a lot about that aspect of it. But
So like Patrick said, we are on our parents' insurance, so that's been really great. But the mental health aspect, it's like it comes and goes in waves. It just depends on your day. Some days you can wake up and you're feeling amazing, and the other days you're just like, I'm exhausted. So it just depends. And it's definitely more than like an average kid would need to think about. And the like Tina said, the attendance thing was school, like the fact that graduation's coming up, it's just like that's stressful. It's like, oh, am I going to? But I think it's all going to work itself out. And the mental health thing, just take time for yourself. Mostly like find a hobby and just follow it until it's like, then find another one if it gets worn out. Just keep yourself busy. And then like naps, I live off of naps. So just anything that you think would help you personally.
I live in France, so for the financial aspect, we have a social security. I almost never paid for medication. That's pretty good. But I also discovered that I could file for disabilities, but very late, like 5 years ago, and I could have done the necessary necessary things earlier, and I wish I did. Get informed on what benefits you can have, and don't be ashamed to ask for them, because it could really tremendously help you with no bad side.
Hi. My daughter's sitting here beside me, and I was just wondering if anyone had any words of encouragement or wisdom. She's 7.
What's her name? Cora. Hi, Cora. How old are you? 7? Oh, I bet there's lots of advice there.
I guess this is probably going to be, like, well, she's young. It's probably going to be the hardest time of her life, getting used to it, and I guess understanding her medication, right? But words of encouragement, just stay strong, and it looks like you got a really nice, happy family there. So rely on your family. They will always be there for you.
Hello, hi. I would say to like, just be as positive as you can be. And like Jordan said, rely on your support system, your family, your friends in school, and you'll be just fine. And find something you love to do, like find a hobby, a sport, drawing, whatever it is that you love to do. Just do that and rely on, your family for support, and everything will be okay.
Sometimes there will be bad times when you are sad and you want to give up, but always remember that it gets better. It always gets better.
Hi, I would say don't be afraid to not talk about it. Like talk about it. It's like it's what makes you you, even if you think it's a burden. But I mean, everybody here that has this is tough. Like we are tough human beings. So don't be afraid to show that you're tough, because people will admire that. And yeah.
Yeah, I think as Cystinotics, for our parents' sake, we try to hide a lot of stuff in, because I mean, all of you have seen your children suffer, and you don't want to see them suffer more. So as we get older, we kind of have this thought process that we don't want to show them all we're feeling, because we already know that our parents and our family have seen us go through so much. But I think the most important thing that I didn't hear a lot when I was a kid, but as I got older, I kind of understood was it's okay to admit when you're not okay, and it's okay to tell your friends and your family what you're really feeling. Because if you, I would have the problem where if I would just keep it bottled up for forever, and then at some point it would just explode into a really bad episode. And the most important thing is to tell people that when you're not feeling okay, it's to admit it and just talk to someone about it. Because it's better than leaving it all bottled up for however long.
Just don't care what other people think, I would say. Just I live my own life. If you don't like it, that's okay. I'm living by what God thinks, I'm gonna have morals and everything, but like if they're like, oh, you have a disease, like obviously they're not a nice person then. I think it's a good thing because it filter out people who are just not very nice people in the first place, but people who accept you, like Jenna said, for like who you are and not see your disease, then those are the people who want to be around anyway.
All right. Hi. So I have one question. How have kidney transplants affected your life, and how do you counter it in your daily days?
I had a transplant about 3 years ago when I was 16, and I'm at 23%. I might need another one. We'll see. Hopefully not for a while, but we're starting the transplant process here again. I think it definitely played a toll, like I said earlier, on my mental health, not only my physical. Everybody else, like even when I first got my first transplant, I remember they were talking it to me, and they had like a class I went to, and everybody was like 80 or something. And every time I say something like, "Oh yeah, I've had a transplant," like, "Yeah, so did my 80-year-old grandpa." I'm like, okay, well, I'm like a young, youthful lady. I'm not like an old person. And so I think that definitely that would be a huge thing. It's like, okay, why am I like, why me, God? Why did you choose me to have these challenges? But at the same time, like I've I appreciate life so much more and stuff. Um, and like every day, honestly, the kidney medications are such a breeze. Persisby is like, makes me feel sick, but my kidney medications are easy to take. I'm not on that many steroids, which is great. But I did have a rejection episode last year, and I was on so many steroids and stuff. So that was really scary. And like I said, my mental health, I just was not having it. And it was just not fun at all. But usually now that I'm pretty stable day by day, I always forget I even have a transplant. Like I feel pretty good right now. It's just I'm tired, because my low kidney function. But really day by day, you just feel like a normal person. It doesn't affect you. The meds are super easy. So yeah.
Henry, what was the second part of your question? What do you mean, like? Oh, so I've had two kidney transplants. My first one, I'd already talked about, didn't go very well just due to complications from surgery and dehydration. But my second one went amazingly swimmingly. Like it was like a completely 180 experience in my first transplant. It's been a little over 4 years now, and I've had no scares, no issues with rejection. I only have one biopsy, and that was done at the 2-year mark, which is per protocol. And then of course I had the stem cell transplant, and now I feel even better. But the kidney transplant, it's as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're not going to have a problem. I mean, there are things that are, of course, out of our control, and things happen like every day. But as long as you're taking your medications on time and you're drinking enough water and you're doing what your doctor says, especially when you're young, because when I transitioned to adulthood, I'm being honest that I had a problem trying to keep my meds on track and making sure that I did them on time and drink enough water, especially. The water is like the most important part, really, just to keep yourself hydrated. Because the more you hydrate yourself, the better your creatinine is going to be and the better your kidney will function, especially when you've had a second transplant. So just keep that in mind. It is a responsibility. I'll tell you a cool story. Probably some of you probably see me. I wear these black beads in my arm. I got them right at like about 4 months after my second transplant. I went to Hawaii just to celebrate that I got my life back and I could go travel and do things. And during one of the nights, I met a woman there who was a local artist, and she had noticed my fistula scar on my arm and said, "Oh, were you on dialysis?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was on for about 4 years." And this was a woman who was, I want to say she was in her late 30s. She had been on dialysis still at that point for 15 years. And she'd been going back and forth to the mainland to actually San Francisco. And I had asked her, "Well, are you going to be on the transplant list? Like, why haven't you gone on a transplant? It's been like 15 years. It's a long time to be on dialysis." And she had told me that she didn't feel responsible enough to take someone else's organ from them. And that is a big thing to admit to yourself, because when you're sick like that, you just want to get better. And even if you might not be super responsible, you want that kidney, and that's a big thing to admit to yourself when you're not responsible enough. And she gave me these these black beads made out of this special wood tree in Hawaii. I can't remember what it was called, but she gave them to me for free. She was very nice, and I kind of wear them every day as a reminder that having a kidney transplant is a responsibility, not just to yourself, but the person who gave it to you, whether they're alive or dead. So I keep these as a reminder to always take my meds and always be on top of my own stuff. So
So I had my kidney transplant 8 months ago, and honestly, it was very scary leading up to it. Like, I think every time I'd go to the hospital and talk to a doctor, and they would, there'd be sheets of side effects and things that could happen. I think I cried almost every day. But then it was like a one, kind of like what Kurt was saying. I just like the next day, I just 180-degree change and just instantly felt better. And I was on high doses of steroids. There'd be times I'd go to the mirror and just start bawling. And I went to my mom, like, I just look so good. And it was just like, it was the weirdest thing for me because I don't usually cry very often. And I'm glad they lowered that dose anyway. But you will feel better. There's no buts and ifs. If you've never had a kidney transplant and you're gonna get one, you will feel better as long as you don't have rejection and stuff. It'll be a life changer.
Kidney transplant. I was age 11, but turned my life around 100%. I was very small, couldn't grow, no energy. Transplant, immediately you're growing, energy, confidence, and never slowed down since.
So I agree with all them that have had a kidney transplant. You do feel a lot better. I've had 2 transplants. My first one, I was 14, and I was the non-compliant college student. And then I did dialysis for 4 years. So of course, like my energy level was non-existent pretty much. But then after I had my second transplant, I mean, like we have the 2 boys, I can run around with them. I've had my second transplant for 12 years now. And of course, it's a learning experience that it just makes you feel better. And if you are complying with your medication, it does great for you.
As for, I got my transplant in November of 2019, and the first thing I noticed is it does a lot for mental health. If your transplant works out really well, you kind of understand that you have a second chance at a lot of things. The tough thing was to get back into physical shape because I was always kind of active before the transplant, even during dialysis. And after, when you're in the hospital for 10 days or 15 days, you don't really move a lot. You lose a lot of muscle, a lot of stamina. So it was tough to get back to a satisfying point. But after, I believe, 6 months, I was back to normal physically. So it's not very, very long, but you have to take walks, maybe bike a bit when you feel better, when the scar is more healed. But it's not too hard, it's not too long.
Discrepancy in age, right? I think from 18 and Mac, how old are you? 59, right? I think that's okay. So what role, Jordan had talked about this a little earlier, but just, in that for each of your lives, and I don't know that everybody needs to talk, but physical activity, you just mentioned it, like what role has physical fitness played in your health? I know because different times there's different things going on, obviously, with our kids too, and they're on the younger age at 18, but what role has that taken in your life?
Well, start out with this. So I was 11 when I had my transplant. Before then, not much energy. But I was in 6th grade, going to 7th grade. I couldn't play football because of the transplant, but off-season football, basketball, work out the track team. But what I did, it gave me the workout lifestyle. So since age 12, I've been working out at least 3-4 days a week, most weeks. Sure, you have a lapse, every now and then you just get busy, but for the most part, at least 3-4 times a week all my life. And it's so important to, lift weights, keep your muscle tone, and it's helped me so much.
I started working out when I was after my because I got my first transplant when I was just about 18. I started working out in college, and I don't think I took it too seriously. I think I was just exercising every now and again. But after my second transplant, I took it really seriously because I want to get back into health. So as soon as I could, I started working out and trying to exercise. Now it's my routine. If I don't work out like at least 5 days a week, I feel weird. Like today, I'm Friday. It's what's today? Saturday. Saturday is usually my arm day, so it's the best day of the week. But today I was like, no, I'm gonna sleep in. I don't want to wake up and go down there. But exercise is really important to me. I think it's actually really helped me with my levels and feeling really energetic. One of the things that Dr. Cherky had told me is as soon as I can to get to exercise, because she said it will help. It will help those stem cells really start to do their job. And like I said, I was already feeling really good because I've been exercising for the last religiously for the last probably 3 years, and I was already feeling really good before the transplant. And now that I've had the transplant, I feel like actually I can feel myself in the gym even stronger. I do a lot of weightlifting. I don't do a lot of cardio because I'm small enough and tall enough, so I don't really have to do too much cardio. But it's a big part, and I think it's the reason why I was in such good health before the stem cell transplant, and I was able to. And that's the reason why I felt like really confident. Like this was like basically I've been building myself up the last 3 years to do this, and it was basically I really believe that it was God telling me that you're strong enough, and this is why you built yourself up to do this, not just for yourself but for everyone. So.
Actually, going back to the kidney transplant, 3 months after my kidney transplant, I joined the track team, and I had never done a high school sport, but I always wanted to. I actually signed up for basketball before I had my transplant, but then I just couldn't do it because I had no energy. But yeah, so I did the track team for a few months, and then COVID happened. So it was only like 3 months of the track, but it was really good. I ran every day and stuff. And nowadays, I'm not gonna lie, Kurt, you inspired me. Last year, I had only done cardio and I just like barely worked out. And then I was like, wow, like it sees like people who work out just seem a lot stronger, especially with cystinosis because of muscle wasting. And so I started going to the gym last year. I got a gym membership. And so I've been working out for about a year. I do I do some cardio, but mostly I do a lot of weightlifting. I like to stay strong. I like to build muscle. Obviously, I don't want to be like those people who are very muscular and they look horrendous. I want to be pretty like I just want to be strong. Not about looks for me. It's just being strong. So I've been a lot of weightlifting, and I think that also helps with my mental health. I mean, I always think in the gym, like when I'm there and I'm doing cardio or something, like these people have no idea what I've been through, like, which is a good thing, but it always just like motivates me, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm so strong, look how far I've come. But yeah, I definitely like to work out a lot.
Yeah, that's my stress relief is going to the gym and ignoring everyone. My biggest pet peeve in the gym is when I see a group of people talking for 25 minutes around the same thing. And I hate that. So I ignore everyone. I put headphones in and I just focus on myself. And that's my stress reliever is it sounds really cheesy, but it's my like meditation just to focus on myself and ignore all the other people in the gym that talk for 25 minutes and don't really work out and just use it as a social place. No, I'm not judging you if that's what you do, but um, just know that other people in the gym are judging you.
I work out like off and on, sometimes like it's mostly months at a time, but last year I was really into it more than I am now. I lost a lot of weight and it used to be like like I would have to walk half a mile and but now I can walk 5 miles for fun, and it's definitely a lot different because I don't like get pain in my legs anymore, and after consistently doing it for a long time, it's more of a it's just been easier to like, move around.
I'm still pretty tired, so I find it hard to find the motivation to work out as much as these other people, which I'm hoping the transplant's gonna fix. But I'll every now and again I'll try and do as much as I can. I walk a lot around. So yeah, I definitely should probably become more compliant about it. And I try. I just get so tired after like a school day, maybe the weekend. But yeah, I don't know.
As a kid, my parents took me to a lot of different sports. I used to do tennis, martial arts, and horseback riding, a lot of stuff. I just liked it. Then I got a teen, I became a teen, I became lazy, and I stopped. And then after my transplant in 2019, I really found a new energy. So I started to walk, take little walks. I would walk around the block of my home and be super tired. I was like, okay, I can never walk again. So the next day I'd walk some more, and every day or every week I'd walk a bit more. Then I started biking because I live in rural area, so I can bike around without too much danger. And I really liked it for like 8 months. Every day I'd take a bike ride until I did like 20 kilometers ride, and I got into it. It's I had fun doing it. Then I started. Some friend convinced me to start lifting weights in in the gym, and I really liked it too. I went up to 5 times a week because it just made me feel. For the longest time, I believed I would always be too tired to be doing this kind of thing, and I couldn't lift heavy weights because I would hurt myself or something. But no, I started doing it regularly. I started deadlifting, building up a muscle in my leg. And since I've been doing it, I don't have leg pain anymore unless I walk really long distances. So it's been really a blessing and giving me more motivation to do all the things and also be jacked because it's cool.
Well, thank you, all of our panelists for sharing yourselves with us, for answering our questions. Brandon. Brandon, say something.
Anyway, so I think exercise, whatever you do, is important. Find something you like or even you don't like and do it until you like it more. So I started lifting weights when I was about 13. I think it's helped out with a lot of things. One thing people don't usually look at it as being physical. It's also mental too, especially if you run. Just to push yourself, and it helps. I think with cystinosis, I think it helps with stress. I think it helps anybody's life. Because when you push yourself, your mind wants to tell you one thing, and you tell it to shut up, and then you go and you do it anyway, and you become a better person for it. So there's so many days, especially when I got my last transplant, I didn't want to even get out of bed, so I basically just fell out of bed. And then I got up, and that's because of exercise. Because this disease attacks everything that you have, and people probably think I'm weird. People at work say, "Do you ever go home?" Because if I'm not working, I'm there working out. And what they don't know is I find that if I work out more, my muscles are already fighting against me. The more I work out, I'm not going to let them shrink. I work out basically every day, doing whatever it is. And there's days I go there when I'm dead tired. You're not going to always have a rock star workout, but at least you get it done. And then it makes you that much stronger the next time. So I think it's also a mind game. If you can overcome your mind, you can overcome anything. So.
Well, I'm very glad that we didn't cut you off, Brandon. That was some very good advice. So thank you. Thank you all of our panelists. You guys can go rejoin the audience. So we've come to our last session. I know on your schedule it says wrap up. We like to think of this as kind of our silver linings discussion of the conference. And I think before we get too far into that, I believe that we have a little surprise for Nancy. Nancy.
No, this is not part of the plan.
She doesn't get to know everything all the time.
We just want to say thank you, and as a gratitude of our appreciation from our community, and give you a little gift. Thank you, Nancy. Where you guys are supposed to clap.
My other kid. Oh my goodness. Memories. Of the... Oh my gosh.
So you'll have to
you
open the
so much.
box and read everything later, but maybe take a peek.
Oh, some notes in there. Oh, my goodness. Well, I can't read them all, but I can see the top of the note says, "We love you," and that's enough. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. And I will read them and cry and feel such gratitude for this loving community. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, together. All
The
right.
box it's in has been decoupaged by the Flirshingers. I know, but has everybody's picture on it, that box.
To look, so I'm going to keep it back there, bring it to lunch, something I'll cherish forever. Thank you so much. Well, we're wrapping up and we're going to go to lunch. But before we do, some of you who have been here before know we call this our silver lining session. And it's not really a session, but it's just to wrap up these days. We joined each other on Wednesday afternoon, and here we are Saturday afternoon. And we have heard a lot of people speak and talk, and we've had inspirational stories. And I think just meeting each other and coming together as a community, we've heard about the research. We have a lot to be hopeful for, but for each of us, I'm sure we have our own cystinosis silver lining. And so if you'd like to share your silver lining, maybe what you've learned at the conference, a highlight of the conference, just your own reflections about being here this weekend together. Anybody want to start? Trisha?
This always motivates me to be a better person, and I always come away or travel on my travels home so fulfilled and stronger.
Thank you, Trisha.
I want to piggyback off of Trisha because we feel the same way. We drive from Salt Lake City, so we have a 10-hour drive home, and we are buzzing the whole way home with all of the things that we learned from researchers and the experiences that the kids have had together. We have a lot to talk about, so thank you.
I think it always gives me hope and it makes me feel grateful. Like there's other people out there like me. And just to see like the older patients and how well they're doing and they have normal lives, it really gives me a lot of hope.
Those words, hope and gratitude. I know my silver lining is listening to the adult panel always. That's such a highlight for me. But also I received some pictures, which you'll receive, of the teens at the beach, which are hysterical and fun and amazing. And I snuck out for a minute to watch the younger children during the magic show, and the laughter and just their heads throwing back and laughter at that silly magician is a good reminder of this wonderful community we have.
So I was unsure if I should talk or not, but I do want to say something as a guest here, how honored I am to witness your resilience. Like, this room has immense resilience, and I was so impressed with your doctors and their connection to you as family. So I want to thank you for the gift of sharing your lives with me and for the gift of this family, who I am so honored to be a part of. But the resilience in this room is just mind blowing. So thank you for the gift of this week and or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Anyone else? Don't be shy.
We talked in our previous session about sometimes in our lives of cystinosis, we feel like we live on the fringes or on the edge and we don't really fit in because we're so busy trying to survive. But here, I feel like we all belong and we feel a sense of belonging and sameness. So it's really comforting, and I think it buoys us for a lot of time after the conference. So I'm grateful.
Anyone?
I'll fight you, Barb.
Go ahead.
On that note, I am so blessed, happy to watch my kids connect with all the kids, and just as they're teenagers, it's just so amazing to watch. It's just beautiful. I don't know. I'm grateful for that.
Mine's more of a comment. I'm inspired by so many people that don't even know are inspiring me. Like I was telling Shelly last night, she's this cake baking wizard and raises all this money, and Alex and Brian that are raising this beautiful family, and seeing the family from Australia with all the children, and seeing all the young kids that maybe will have an easier life. And the adults, there's more adults up there nowadays than there was 25 years ago when we started. So, you know, I think these conferences have given me my hope back years ago, and it's just, I feel like I fit here. So thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. This is our first time here. It's definitely not gonna be the last. So thank you all. This has been so emotive and so inspiring. And we know that definitely is hope here. So thank you so much.
Just want to say thank you to everyone again for being here and being real people. The only people we ever speak to that have cystinosis or are connected are people online, being from such a huge country with so few people. This is the only time we get to connect with our extended family, you guys. And so we'll spend the rest of our holiday here planning for next year. We already miss you. We're already looking forward to coming back. Hopefully we can come back with the kids again. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being here, being real and being family.
Every year, I'm always happy to come here and see the parents because I'm fascinated with to see how you handle having young children with disease and helping them grow up and try to kind of alleviate some anxieties that you could have about teenhood that is hard for young kids with cystinosis, and exchange with all of you on how to overcome these challenges. It's always very, very enriching for me. Now, always very happy and grateful to be here.
Anyone else?
Be some nice Lego building going on back here. Congratulations, you've made me tear up a few times this weekend, and I'm not a super emotional person, but you know, this has really meant a lot for me. I've always had this suspicion that kids that go through something like this, you know, whether it's cystinosis or something else, you know, some medical thing, have this sort of aura about them, and you're forced to like grow up early, and what that translates into is just a really great bunch of kids. And so I've enjoyed seeing all the kids run around, and especially the teenagers. I see myself in them, and it just affirms my belief that this is a special community. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just feel really welcome and just that I can relate to people for once, but that's basically it.
I just am incredibly inspired by the resilience of the families, the patients, the incredible positive attitude and remarkable strength that everybody shows. Really is impressive and inspiring.
Hi, I'm not gonna make this too long because I'm already emotional, but I just, you know, it's been since 2019 since I've seen everyone, and this community is really beautiful. And, you know, it's been 20 years since I made the wish, and look where we are today. And it's because of all of you and my mom and my dad and Dr. Shirky and all the doctors. And I'm just, it's like, I don't even know how to describe how thankful I am. And it's beyond words how blessed I feel. And I love you all so much. And thank you for being here.
Mine is more of a thank you, but thank you to Nancy. I used to come to Day of Hope for years as I was a kid, like right when we started. I think it was almost when it was started, maybe a year after. My parents and I and my sister would come to these every time we had them. And things happen when you get older. You get busy. There's not time to travel and things like that. And I started going back to town halls when I got a little older in my 20s, and I reconnected with Nancy through email. And she had invited me last year and invited me to write an article in one of the issues of the magazine. And I'm so glad that I am back. Last year is my first time a Day of Hope in probably 15 years. And it just being back last year and this year has just reminded me of how much I've missed this and missed everyone here and meeting so many new families and meeting people like Tina and Henry and Jordan and all the other Cystinosis I've talked to just remind me how much I love coming here. And I want to thank Nancy because she invited me back, and I don't know if I ever would have come back if not for her invitation. So thank you. And she saw my sister and I grow up, and now my sister has a child. So we've been through it all together, and I just want to say thank you so much.
Anyone else? Oh, Ryan.
I want to give a special shout out for all the doctors that traveled around the world to come and share their expertise with us. I think every year, I can't count how many times I've been. It's been wonderful. And every year is a little bit new progression, a little bit new things that give you more hope for treatments. And knowing that there's a more collaborative nature between these big spaces like Australia and the UK and France and here that are dealing with the same issue on a small scale. And so how do we put all of our resources together to kind of help continue to do this cure? And of course, I'm super appreciative of this community as a single parent of twins with cystinosis. It gets extremely lonely and isolating. And so every time I come here, I'm rejuvenated. Even if it's commiserating a little bit, it's at least that shared understanding, that shared journey that makes this extremely powerful. And we're just really blessed in such a small community to have such strength. And our strength is driven by our children, it's driven by our adults, but I am also incredibly inspired by every single parent in this room, because what we go through and what we need to do for our kids and putting our kids first, and every one of you that are here have done that. And it's really inspiring, and it continues to motivate me to be a better parent.
Okay. Anyone else? So we'll wrap up. So a lot of words I heard were strength, perseverance, hope, faith, and one of the most important ones too is community, gratitude. So with that, thank you all for being here. Let's continue our celebration of this community, this amazing small community, and yet so united in our efforts to find treatments and a cure for cystinosis. So the next year, let's stay connected and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for coming from near and far to be with us to celebrate our community. Thank you, and safe travels, and let's go eat lunch. Everybody's hungry.